Okay, so our first project today is going to be this Darling card. So we're going to make 2 cards and then 2 3D projects. And we're going to be here for a little while, but there'll be a recording. So if you have to go, if you're in a hurry, this is not going anywhere. Okay, so this is the Darling card that we're making. Isn't it so cute? So I'm going to set that there so we can reference it. Here are the images that we're using. Let's see, we're using this one. I have everything cut and ready to go. So this is how your packet is going to arrive. Now the only exception is, let me grab the paper. I'm not cutting your designer series paper, okay? So for those of you that are getting the packets, this is how your, because this is part of your swag bag, your paper, your designer series paper. So these are 6x6 sheets. Some of you guys ordered extra, some of you did not. You have plenty in the original, but if you're like me, you might want to make 2 or 3 of each project. So you're going to cut your own paper. On your instruction sheet, your very first, this is not done, as you can see. That's why I said you're going to get it tomorrow. Your very first instruction is cut your designer series paper using the measurements listed. Over here is your measurements, okay? So this is step 1. On all 4 of your projects, you're gonna cut your designer series paper. Everything else has been cut for you. All the die cut pieces are ready for you to assemble your card. You're just gonna have to stamp and assemble, yeah. Okay, so let me get the ink. You've got Memento ink. And so here's all the pieces. Your packets will also include the envelopes. So here's our basic white layers. Pool Party, Whisper White. Okay, so let's stamp. What I like to do when you get your packet, like I said, cut your paper. Oh, and look, I don't even have this layer right here. I should have known I would forget one. Okay. So before you stamp, just kind of eyeball everything and say, okay, this is how this works. Okay, so then that means this is your scrap piece to do your stamping. Every packet is going to have a sheet for stamping for you, okay? So we're going to start with the snail. And then this snail. Did I stamp that good? Yeah. And then we're going to stamp the greeting. So we're going to stamp this first. And then the greeting. Okay. No more ink. We are using Crumb Cake, Pool Party, Flirty Flamingo, light and dark of those. Okay, now, here we go. Now, when I ask you guys for feedback later, you guys let me know, do you want me, like when we do the bingo events, do you want me to do the coloring earlier and just have them ready to assemble the cards, or are you okay just hanging out with me and stamping? Yeah, sorry, I meant for my I meant to be able to show my face and my hands at the same time today, but so that was the dark crumb cake. And then now we're doing the light. Okay. So now we're done with the crumb cake. Then we're going to take the light pool party. And then the light flirty flamingo. Oh, I just realized that the, oh, thank you guys. That's so nice. I just noticed that my comments were not feeding very well on the iPad, but they're doing pretty good on the laptop. So I'm actually going to pull up my chair and sit down now. I don't have to rush. You guys are good, right? It is a class. We are having a class together. The only catch is, I know some of you guys really wanted your packets beforehand, but this, doing it this way allows me to save on shipping, because effective next week, shipping is going up again. And my business is small compared to a lot of people. And this shipping going up is really, it really affects my business greatly. I can't even tell you. Like, Priority Mail is going up like 45 cents. Like, it's $0.50. It makes a huge difference for a small business. So, yeah. So that's why I'm shipping the prizes and the make and take packets all at the same time. And by shipping them after the event, if I cut something wrong, I will catch it this time around, because I've already I cut 3 for project 1. So in case I messed up today. So that way I can make sure that your packets are going to have everything exactly as they should be. Okay? Okay, I think we're done coloring. Now what we're going to do is take this image, or this layer here, and we're going to be using the hearts, and we're going to use our Pool Party ink pad. Now you can stamp off, or you don't have to. It's totally your choice. Let's see. I'm going to stamp off because I just want it to be very faint, okay? If you have a brand new ink pad, you might not want to stamp off. Or you might want to stamp off twice. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're done with the coloring. We need to cut those out. So let's take our basic white cardstock. We're going to score that at 4 1/4. The heart on the envelope is going to get an embellishment. Yeah, so 4 1/4. This is one step I probably could have done in advance. You guys all know how to score your cards. Oh, here's my bone folder. Okay, here's our card base. Now the next layer, we want to emboss that. Now you guys can use any embossing folder you own. You do not have to use the one that I'm using today. This is just one that looks, it's just one that we grabbed. But you can use any embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to get the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's right here under my feet. Okay, so we're going to emboss now. I'm using the number 1 plate with the number 4 because this is a 3D embossing folder. So I'm just going to roll this through. And then we're going to change plates and we're going to cut out all of our snails and images. Okay, so there's the embossing. Now I want to change out my number 4 plate. Okay, so a 1, 2, and a 3, and a 3. You're welcome. I just color like I did in the coloring book, or the way I did with my kids when they were little. Okay, these are all the dies that we're using today. All the pieces are going to be cut for you, with the exception of the snail dies. You do need the snail dies to make these projects. So this one I will cut because that's a simple one. But the snails themselves and the greeting, those you will need to cut yourself. But I will be providing this cut piece, this, and this one. Okay? So we are using the big one and the little one and then the speech bubble. So you can use some purple tape or some, I was going to say, I need to stand up to see this. There we go. Okay, we're done with the machine for now. We will be using it again, so it's just going to stay right here to the right of my desk. Ruh-roh, I kept the washi tape. I usually keep that on there so that I remember to reuse it. I'll stick it on my camera mount. Okay, I will refuse to move any further until I put my dies back on their sheet. Okie doke. Now I need my glue. We'll put the card back over here. So this layer is going to get added to the front. So I'm just going to put my liquid glue on the back. Now we're going to add the designer series paper to this layer. So same thing. This is going to go here. So just in the center. So for this one, you want to make sure that you place it more towards the bottom of this layer here. Which pockets, Cam? Do you mean the pockets that I have my dies, or you mean that? Are you talking about this pocket here? Yeah, I don't know the size that I will have to answer that question afterwards. That is a good question. Okay, so now this layer is going to get added here. See if you compare them side by side. So it's just slightly off of this. And I did not pop that up. So I'm just going to put some liquid glue on the back. I'm going to turn the fan off now. I know that's not the best sound. Uh-oh. My husband's talking on the phone up there. Hubs, we can hear you. I'm looking for dimensionals. Okay, so we're going to place a couple on the big one on the little, and then one on the greeting. Okay. So we're going to place a couple of the white ones up here. And over here, let's see. And then we'll do one at the bottom down here. And then we're going to do a red one on the envelope. Okay, now let's add all these. So this one kind of hangs off the edge a bit on that. And then this one's down here. And then the greeting up here. And then if you want to add some Wink of Stella, then you can add that. I love Wink of Stella. Okay, did we forget anything? Nope, they look good. I did not stamp the inside. Okay, so there is card number 1. Okay, so now we're moving on to the second card. Let me put this back in here and put this in here. So all of my measurements were accurate on this one, so that's awesome. We'll move this basket out of the way. And now we're grabbing basket number 2. This is a fun fold card, and it opens up. So it opens like this. Isn't it cute? I love this stamp set so much. Okay, so let me get my instruction sheet out. Although the instructions are not tight, I do have the measurements though. So we're using the same snails, but this time we're using a different greeting. So a reminder, when you look at the instructions, your very first step is going to be to cut your paper. And remember, when you're cutting the stripes or the lines, that you want to make sure you cut it in the right orientation. It's not the end of the world if these little squigglies are going vertically instead of horizontal, but if you want it to look exactly this way, and then the hearts, you don't want upside down hearts. So just make sure that you cut your designer series paper first. And yes, you can use donkeys or any other stamp set. We're using 2 stamp sets for this class, the Valentine Keepsakes and the Snailed It. The Snailed It, we're using all of the snail images and the mushroom. And this one we're using like the backgrounds and the greetings. Okay? Yeah, so Valentine Keepsakes and Snailed It. Okay, so let's get all of these out. So this is for our stamping that's behind all of this, and the rest of this is for our card. I have a little sample in here to remind y'all of how to do this, and I have to get my little cheat sheet to remember it myself. And I will do that now before we even get started, because that was a part that stumped me just a smidge. Okay, here we go. We're going to stamp first. Again. That is the most fun, right? The stamping part. Okay. And then this one. And then the greeting. This time we're using a different greeting. We're using With Love, and we're going to stamp it with Real Red ink. Okay, same thing. We're going to do some coloring. We're using a few different color markers this time. We're using Old Olive instead of Flirty Flamingo. So Old Olive, Crumb Cake, and then Pool Party. So I'm going to start with the Pool Party. So no fancy color in there. And for the snail, I'm just going to use the light Crumb Cake. And same thing, just coloring. I'm not doing anything fancy. Not that I know how to do anything fancy, but... And the same thing for this one. So for those of you that were watching the bingo event, feel free to email me your funny jokes for our next event. Uh-oh, I went out of the line. Oh, well, it'll be okay. Yeah, so feel free. All those jokes that I had, they got submitted by downline customers, fellow demonstrators. So feel free to send them to helpdesk@chickenscratch.com. And I will add them to the list for next time. We went through every single one of them this time. So this is Old Olive. You could technically use any color with this. I just figured I wanted to change up the colors from the other projects. Okay, we're done. We're done coloring for this project. I did start the bingo group. Yes, it's called Chicken Craft. I'll post the link to join it. We got to stamp the mushroom. It's going on the inside. Now that is optional. Ruh-roh. That's okay. That'll get cut out. Oh, do y'all hear the birds? Okay, how did I color it? Oh, there comes the Real Red. So we're using Real Red and Old Olive and Pool Party. I agree, the googly eyes would be cute on the snails. Totally. You know, and I was just thinking, instead of actually cutting this out, I could have just stamped it right on the inside piece. Is this dark? It is. I want light. Gizmo is wanting some attention. Now that Brooke is student teaching, they're here alone or with Dave and I during the day, and they start making all kinds of sounds when they can hear me out here. They want me to come get them. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking on this one. Oh, I have red ink on my finger. It sounds like Gizmo's laughing, doesn't it? Can y'all hear him? Okay, now just have this part. Okay, now, so we're going to get the machine out and we're going to cut out all of these pieces. So I'm going to slide them over. Gizmo is a cockatiel. Elvis and Gizmo both are cockatiels. And they are super spoiled, just like Miss Bella. Whoops, I need my number 3 plate. Okay. Get my die sheet out again. So that is this one. When I saw this die, I thought it was a turkey because of this part, but it's not. But it looked like it for a short period. Okay, is that centered? I think so. The envelope is going to get a resin heart. It's going to get a little embellishment. Okay, that one's done. And then we're going to cut out this one. My fingers are having a hard time getting these off here. I don't know if I should try to do 3 at once. We'll stick with 2. Okay, that one. That one. And then we just have the greeting left. Okay, y'all see the turkey also then, right? It's not just me. Okay. Putting my washi tape back on there so that I can reuse it. And now, let's get this puppy out of the way. So the first thing we're going to do on this card base is we are going to score it at 2 3/4. So 2 3/4. And then we're going to take this layer and we are going to score it right before this this section here, this section. So that's pretty much at 3 7/8, okay? So score this one at 3 7/8. And then you're gonna take the next one and you're gonna cut this one, okay? So let me get the paper trimmer. So you're gonna cut this one right before that mark. So it doesn't have to be exact, okay? So just cut it before, let me hold it up and show you. So cut it before this section here. So if I drew a pencil across, it goes straight across there, okay? So this is trash. It's gonna assemble just like this, okay? So here is our card base. We're just gonna fold that. This one is getting attached to the front just like that. So that is accurate. Okay. This is going to get added to that. Okay, this piece right here gets added to your real red, okay? So that's where I messed up, is that this is supposed to get added first. And I want to use liquid glue so that if I don't get it exactly straight, I can reposition it. So you want this part to fold to the front of your card. So this gets added here. And I'm just going to hold that flat for a second. Let's see. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, yes. Whew. I'm glad I didn't mess up a second time. I'm going to add just a drop of liquid glue right there because it's not holding. Yes, all of these videos are going to be here as soon as I sign off, so they're available. They're not going anywhere. Okay, now we can add the Whisper White layer on the inside. And then our Designer Series paper. Yeah, when I told somebody, though, the other day that it was going to be like 3 hours, or like 3 hours, I'm like, I know, but people go to football games for a lot longer than 3 hours. What's 3 hours, right? Okay, so we're going to add the little mushroom image down here. And then we're going to add this one here, this one here, this one here, and then we need our twine. You guys will be getting this in your swag bag. My husband helped me. I'm laughing because we set and rolled ribbon, because y'all are not just getting the baker's twine. You're also getting some polka dot tulle and some crinkled seam binding. So we sat and rolled ribbon the other night. And he was like, I don't know how I got stuck with this. I'm like, dude, you said you would. When COVID is over, we'll hopefully get another assistant, one that will stay, and he can retire from being my helper. He's outside knocking on the window. It's like he heard me talking about him. Okay, so there's our ribbon. Covering up that glue dot. Let me put this back in here before I lose it. Okay, we're gonna add this one with a wait, no we're not. We didn't add any of these with a dimensional. So you can if you want to. Okay, there's that one. And then this one. Where's our greeting? And then we gotta add a little embellishment. It is very nice that he helps me. You know, he didn't help me for the longest time. But it's crazy how life just kind of changes. He used to always travel and be on the road, and I may pop this one up. I didn't pop it up on the sample, but let's see how we like it. Let's get a little mini dimensional since the mini dimensionals are not quite as thick as the regular ones. So if you're not sure how much you want something to pop up, this one has less of a pop up. I did not word that right, but you know what I mean, right? Okay, card number 2 is done. So let's compare them. So pretty good, right? So your fun fold card. Now, look at this little bag. And this is the project supply sheet for it. I love this designer series paper, and I will be using it after Valentine's and after people don't want to buy this stamp set because the B side of it can be used for anything. And if you'll notice, we kind of sort of have been using the B side. Like this is what I consider the B side. The A side is the side that usually has the snails or something. Oh, how cute are they? Okay, so for this one, here are the pieces. Don't forget, if you're doing your make and take packets, cut your designer series paper first. And that is this piece right here, okay? We use that on card number 1. And we are also using it on this little bag. Okay, so we have some stamping to do. We're gonna stamp this little background image. This is from the Valentine Keepsakes. We're gonna be using Pool Party ink. And the Pool Party ink is around here. We just used it on the other card, didn't we? Oh, I need my assistant back. Here it is. And I am going to stamp off. So we're going to use a piece of scrap paper and stamp off. You can barely see it. If you prefer it to be darker, you can do that. My Pool Party ink pad needs to be re-inked too, but that's what I get. I start talking, then I lose. I'm like, oh, did I stamp off or not? Oh, So we're gonna score this a little shy of 4 3/4 on both sides, okay? So 4 3/4 is right there. So a little less than 4 3/4, and we want to use our light color, and we're going to do this on both sides. So 4 3/4 here, and then you're going to stamp it, and then you're going to cut it with this. Okay. This time we're using just the mushrooming. That's a little challenging, but I got it. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna color with light crumb cake, light old olive, light flirty flamingo. This time we're gonna use the light real red, the light Bermuda Bay, to tie in this Bermuda Bay, and then light daffodil, okay? So I always say when I'm coloring, if you need to step away for a second and get something to drink, this is your perfect time to do so, because I'm gonna be coloring for the next couple minutes. Light old olive. I'm just going to do the little blades of grass and then the leaves. Oh, while I'm coloring, I'm gonna share with y'all or ask y'all. So I know I'm on a different platform. I'm on Facebook, not YouTube, but I'm getting really close to 100,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna start asking for people to please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you don't already, because I'd really like to reach that goal. I've been on YouTube forever and ever and ever. Oh wait, let me go back to the light flirty flamingo. Yeah, so I'm trying to get my subscribers up to that. I think I'm at 89,000 now. So, okay, now the light real red. Well, no, let's do the Bermuda Bay first. This is light Bermuda Bay. And I have had several people on YouTube ask for me to go live over there. And I told them that I get so many more views on Facebook that it's hard to move my live videos over there because I get so many more views on Facebook now. And that's mainly the reason is the view count. Yeah. You got to go where your people are, right? That's why we played bingo on Facebook today. And we did okay with the lagging, right? Okay, we are done coloring with this one. Is the Basic White Squeaky with the Blends. I think it's the same as the Whisper White. Oh, we need to cut this image out. I'm trying to pick it up like it's gonna pick right up. So let me get the die cut machine. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. And then I need my mushroom die. We're almost done. We just have one more project after this one, so. I haven't looked at the clock though. I'm afraid to look how long I've kept y'all. It's a class. I'm not supposed to rush. Oh, are there, Barbara? I didn't know that. Okay. There's that. So we will put this up and go to the next step. So here's our pieces so far. We have this one, these two, and now we want to get our Whisper White layer. Okay, so now we're gonna take, this is supposed to be 8.5 by 5. I wanted to check my measurements before I proceed. And I'm gonna start on this side, and I'm going to score it. This is the portrait side, and I'm going to score it 1 inch. I'm going to turn it on the landscape side, which is the long side. I'm going to score it at 3, 3.5, 4, 7, 7.5, and 8. Okay, this is how it looks so far, okay? So we're gonna fold on the score lines and then burnish with our bone folder. Mary wants to know what is the difference on YouTube. You know, YouTube is just always, it's just been a platform that's been out for a really long time. I used to go live over there, but things kind of changed several years ago. So then we switched to Facebook. The differences are YouTube is just a video platform, whereas Facebook is a social platform. I am using Basic White except for the envelopes, Terry. Yeah, I'm using Basic White. Okay, here's how it looks. Now we're going to do some cutting. So we're going to remove this little piece right here. Let me get my template here. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. So we're going to remove this little corner piece and then angle cut. Yeah, so we're using Basic White Thick and Basic White Regular, but Whisper White envelopes because I had an abundance of those. And to be honest, guys, the difference is so minimal that you will not really be able to tell the difference. I accidentally mixed up some of my Whisper White with Basic White. And now I'm like, unless you're in a very specific lighting, you're not going to be able to tell. Okay, so I'm angle cutting these little pieces, the little tabs, okay? That is a weird sound. What am I hearing outside? Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't mess up anything, and I did not. So I'm going to put adhesive on this strip right here. And fold that over just like that. Okay, that is the back of our box, our bag. This makes the front. So I'm going to put adhesive on the front bottom, okay? Okay, so here is our bag. It's nice and cute and small. And then our belly band is going to go like that. But of course, we want to add our designer series paper. So we're going to add this next. And I'm sorry I'm not answering all comments because I'm mainly focusing on making the project, but I will look back for comments later. Okay, so this is how it's going to get sealed up. So in your make and take packets, you're going to be getting a little thing of polka dot trim, polka dot ribbon, and crinkle seam binding. You're getting a yard of each of these, and that will be plenty for your projects. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, hold on, I'm looking for the twine. So we're going to take the twine that's going to be in your swag bag. You get the whole thing. We're going to take 2 pieces of this. Let's see. Approximately 8 or 9 inches. So 2 of those. And then you're going to take a little bit of the polka dot ribbon. We used washi tape to hold down your ribbon for you on your little tab thingy. And this is way too much ribbon, but I'd rather have too much while I'm filming than too little. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're just gonna feed this through. My husband is cleaning the smoker. That's what he's doing. I keep hearing this sound. I'm like, what in the world? Okay, now we're going to take those 2 pieces of twine and we're going to tie a bow. You can tie a knot if you want. Okay. Okay, there's that part. Now we just add our layers. So this is going to get added in the middle here. So I'm placing my adhesive in the middle to attach to the belly band. So when the belly band is removed, then this layer is also removed and it doesn't tear their bag, okay? And then dimensionals for the mushroom image. And then we're going to add the greeting with a mini dimensional. Whew, that airplane is loud. It really sounds like they're about to land in the house, don't it? Oh, I got ink on that. Oh, well. And then last, we're going to add our little embellishments. So we actually do use quite a bit of these. These are also in your swag bag. I love these. And I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. You don't have to use these just for Valentine's. Like, you can use them for any occasion. Especially right now, people need a lot of love. Okay. Wait, let me put this back on here so I don't lose it. So here is your third project. The only difference is this one isn't stamped because I messed up the one I stamped. So you will stamp the flower background on your pool party. And that softens it up just a tad. Cute. I think I'm faster at making boxes. Look how cute this is. And let me show you what I've been putting in mine. I have these white Post-it notes that I ordered. And so this has been sitting over there on my desk. And it will hold an ink pen and a couple pads of Post-it notes. Isn't it so cute? So this is what we're fixing to make, okay? I'm going to take my Post-it notes out of there so that I don't get ink all over them. Okay, here is our project supply sheet. This one's going to be a challenge packaging. Yes, it's going to be a challenge. So, first step is you want to cut your designer series paper. This is your designer series paper. The only place we're using it is right here. You could, if you ordered extra paper, you can decorate the back. If you did not order extra paper, you cannot, because this paper is going to be your panel here. It's also your snail, okay? Because that little guy's back there, and we have to use the paper with the dies. We have to. Okay, so the stamping part, these are the two images that we're using. Both of those are in the Valentine keepsakes since we're using the dies with the DSP. Now, I do already have the box template made for this project. I just got to get my hands on it. We're going to stamp our images first. We're using Real Red ink. And the Be Mine. Now this might be a little challenging to do. Not bad. Both of those will already be pre-cut for you, okay? Now, we want to cut this guy out with the dies. So we're going to get the die cut machine out one more time, and then we will be done with the die cut machine. You don't have to use your designer series paper if you don't want to. For those of you that are getting the swag bag, you could use your stamps. But anytime we have a stamp that matches anytime we have a die cut that matches the designer series paper, I like to always use it because I love it. Oh, thanks, Joy. I told my nail person, I'm like, it's time for Valentine colors. It's time for pink. I love pink, especially this color pink. Okay. I don't want my washi tape to rip my paper. Ooh, that was close. Now, this piece of white in your kits, that's just if you want to stamp your own stuff. That's extra. You don't even need it. But I like to give it to you just in case you want to do your own thing. For example, if you didn't want to use this layer, you could do something with that extra, and I said whisper white, but it will be basic white, okay? So we're going to pop this up with a dimensional. I'm dimensional pour. Okay, so this is going here. I'm going to wait and add the greeting after we add this to the front of the box, okay? So we are going to start with the 8 by 8.5 piece. 8 by 8.5. Okay, so on the portrait, on the landscape side, which is the long side, the 8.5 inch side, I'm going to score it at 2 1/4 and 6 1/4. I'm going to turn it on the portrait side, which is the 8 inch side, and I'm going to score it at 2 7/8 and 5 1/8. I'm going to set this aside, okay? For this one, I'm going to place it, this is this piece right here, okay? I'm going to place it on the landscape side, and I'm going to score it at 1 1/8, 5 1/4, 9 3/8. And then I'm going to turn it and score it at 1 1/8 and 5 1/8. Now I'm going to place it back on the landscape side, and I'm going to score it at 3 3/4 only to this first score line right here, okay? So 3 3/4 and stop right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing at 6 3/4. So stop at that first score line. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So 3 3/4 to the first score line, 6 3/4 to the first score line. This is how it looks, okay? Okay, so now we're going to fold on the score lines. Okay, we're going to set this aside for a minute, and we're going to go over to the box. I want to say this is box template 49, but don't quote me. I'm not 100% sure. I have the box template already made, and it was supposed to be right here in front of me, but who knows? Okay, so here's how it looks. I'm going to cut over here and cut here. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so that's how it looks. So we're going to add our adhesive to these two tabs and these two, and it's going to fold over like that, okay? Okay, so fold that, fold that. Okay, there's that part of the box, okay? So you can see it's coming together nicely. Now for this part, we have to do some cutting. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the 4 corners. Okay, that's how it looks right now. Now, we want to remove, we're going to cut here, and we're going to remove this entire section, okay? Same thing on this side. So cut on the score line, cut on the score line, and then you're going to remove that section. Okay, so now you're going to place your adhesive on these two and on these down here, okay? So this is going to fit inside the bottom of your box. just like that, okay? But for me, like just now doing that, I'm gonna get glue all over myself. So I'm gonna tell you, glue this down if you want to, because this becomes your handle, or don't glue it down like me. I could, maybe I should glue it down just to show y'all, but I know I'm gonna get glue. Well, let's use this. How about that? Okay. So this is gonna go in the bottom, but these have to spread out. Press, okay, just like this, okay? There we go, there's that. So for the bottom, that's now stuck down. These little flaps here, you can put liquid glue on those, or you can just leave them like that. The bottom is now sturdy enough, okay? So now, we're gonna add this paper to that panel. Okay, there's that. This is going to get added right here. Then we've got our little greeting here we want to add. So I'm going to take your pick tool and get a little mini dimensional. And then all we have left is our ribbon. So for our ribbon, don't forget, you're going to be getting this in your kit. So like I said, you got a yard of this and a yard of the crinkle seam binding. You don't need, we only use this one card, but I like to give a little bit of extra. So, okay, so I'm going to take, and this scrap of ribbon may not be enough. We'll see. Oh yeah, it will. So I'm just going to tie a bow, combining the polka dot tool with the whisper white or the white seam binding. And this time you want a bigger bow because this is a bigger box or a bigger project. So yeah. And that's going to go up there just like that. So I'm going to get a glue dot and pick it up and place it right there. Now for this one, you can go ahead and add another embellishment there or not. I really don't think that it has to have one. Bag and the box and the card and the fun fold card. Pretty cute, right? I love it. So we got blues, reds, and pinks. No, actually not pink, that's Blushing Bride, but same difference, right? They're super cute. Okay, so thank you. I love the hearts. Okay, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much.